Hello and welcome to KLM Institute.
Today, we're diving deep into the unprecedented developments in Syria, where the long-standing conflict has taken an unexpected turn. The capture of Damascus by Syrian rebels has sent shockwaves through the international community, signaling the possible end of President Bashar al-Assad's 24-year rule. Let's unpack what this means for Syria, its neighbors, and the wider geopolitical landscape. As we speak, the Syrian Civil War, which began in 2011, has reached a crucial turning point. For over a decade, Syria has been torn apart by a brutal conflict between the government forces of President Bashar al-Assad and various opposition groups, with foreign powers backing both sides. Assad's regime, backed by Iran and Russia, seemed indestructible, especially with the support of powerful military forces. However, a surprise offensive launched by rebel forces from the northwest has completely shifted the tide of the war. Led by the militant group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham (HTS), which has its roots in al-Qaeda, the rebel forces have made unprecedented advances. They've captured key cities like Aleppo, Homs, and now, most notably, Damascus, the heart of Assad's regime. The city fell into rebel hands as the Syrian army, once a formidable force, crumbled under pressure with little resistance. Reports indicate that President Assad, facing imminent defeat, fled the country, leaving behind a power vacuum and an uncertain future for Syria. HTS, initially formed as a faction tied to al-Qaeda, has rebranded itself over the years, distancing itself from terrorist associations. Their recent efforts focus not only on military action but also on establishing governance in the areas they control. Their capture of Damascus is not just about military victory but also about dismantling Assad's authoritarian rule, which they claim has oppressed Syria for decades. HTS leader Abu Muhammad al-Golani has said the ultimate goal is to create a new Syria, one where the people are free from tyranny. This situation in Syria isn't isolated. The fall of Assad echoes past events in other parts of the world, where long-standing leaders fled amid massive unrest. Take Sri Lanka, for example, where President Gotabaya Rajapaksa fled the country in 2022 as protests over economic mismanagement reached a boiling point. Similarly, Bangladesh's Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has faced challenges to her rule but has managed to hold on to power amid domestic strife. The common thread here is that political regimes, no matter how entrenched, can be vulnerable in times of crisis. The Syrian Civil War has always been a complicated web of local and international players. Iran and Russia have been Assad's most loyal allies, providing critical military support. On the other side, the United States, Turkey, and various European nations have supported different rebel factions, including Kurdish groups and moderate opposition forces. But in 2024, HTS, backed by Turkish-backed militias, has been making the most significant strides, and their capture of Damascus signifies a monumental shift in the balance of power in Syria. Now, let's talk about the wider implications of this change. The fall of Assad has immediate and far-reaching consequences for the region. Iran, a key backer of Assad, has invested heavily in Syria, seeing it as a crucial corridor for its influence in Iraq and Lebanon. With Assad gone, Iran's grip on Syria is likely to loosen, and this could destabilize its position in the entire Middle East. Iran's role in supporting Hezbollah in Lebanon and other proxy forces in Iraq could now face challenges, as the Syrian regime, once a reliable partner, collapses. Iraq, sharing a long border with Syria, could face a rise in sectarian violence as groups vie for control of the power vacuum. The collapse of Assad's government may also have repercussions in Gaza, where Iranian-backed militants have influence. The situation in Gaza, already fragile, could worsen if Syria falls into chaos and provides new opportunities for militant groups to expand their reach. Looking further afield, the global players like Russia and China also have much at stake. Russia has been one of Assad's most vocal supporters, providing military aid and air support throughout the conflict. But with Assad gone, Russia may lose its influence in Syria, and this could alter its position in the Middle East. For China, which has been seeking to expand its influence in the region through economic ties, Syria's destabilization could shift alliances and disrupt its growing presence. Now, let's zoom in on the potential impact on Israel and its allies, including the United States, the UK, and France. Israel, which has long been concerned about Iran's growing influence in Syria, may see the fall of Assad as an opportunity to reduce Iranian presence near its borders. However, there's a catch. While Israel may welcome Assad's departure, the rise of more radical groups like HTS could introduce new security risks. The situation could become even more unpredictable, and Israel might find itself facing new challenges from groups with less interest in diplomatic solutions. The United States, which has supported certain rebel factions in Syria, might find itself in a difficult position. The post-Assad government might not align with American interests, especially if HTS and other Islamist factions take control. France and the UK, which have played a role in supporting opposition forces, could also find themselves dealing with a new reality where their efforts to stabilize Syria are complicated by the rise of more radical elements. On the flip side, the fall of Assad could also shift the balance in favor of Palestine and its supporters, including Russia, China, and India. These countries have long been sympathetic to the Palestinian cause and may see Assad's removal as an opportunity to reshape the Middle Eastern power structure. With Syria in turmoil, new alliances could form, and these countries might try to assert their influence, shifting the region's dynamics. Syria is at the crossroads of several key regions. It shares borders with Iraq, Jordan, Lebanon, Turkey, and Israel, making it a critical player in the geopolitics of the Middle East. Its strategic location has always made it a focal point for regional powers. The fall of Assad will undoubtedly reshape the region, not just in terms of power dynamics but also in terms of security, economic influence, and political alliances. The geography of Syria, nestled between Iraq, Jordan, Lebanon, and Israel, has always made it a significant strategic player. With its capital Damascus now under rebel control, the entire map of the Middle East could change. Neighboring countries like Iraq, Lebanon, and Israel will have to adapt to this new reality, as old alliances fade, and new ones take shape. As the situation continues to unfold, the international community watches closely. What happens next in Syria will undoubtedly have far-reaching effects, from the power struggles in Iraq and Lebanon to the security concerns in Israel and Gaza. The next chapter in Syria's history will shape not just the future of the country, but the entire Middle East. The world is on edge, waiting to see how this massive shift will unfold. Will the rebel forces, led by HTS, successfully stabilize Syria, or will their rise to power plunge the region into further chaos? Only time will tell.